The Zone Coverage Podcast Network.
The Andy, Luke, and Arif football machine.
Autobots, transform! I like this kind of party!
Straight cash, homie.
Starts now.
Welcome back to Thunderdome for another Zone Coverage Football Machine on the Zone Coverage Podcast Network. I'm your not so humble host, Andy Carlson, at Andy Carlson Show on the Tour Machine, and I have been more accurate than being the only FBI agent with a safety on my pistol. More accurate than my fantasy football team, feckless punt. More accurate than the White House saved by not having to grease all the light poles on Pennsylvania Avenue.
How many do you have?
Yeah, I was going to say that the third one I was okay with.
Yeah, that one was all
When
right.
you wake up at 4:45, you're really not working out. Are you just writing all these? Is that what you're doing?
Rubbed down in my hand, and then it sweats off, and then it only gets like half the words. But it happens. Joining me, as always, is Arif Hassan, NFL. Hola.
Hey.
What do you think Mike Zimmer ordered at the Mexican restaurant for his birthday?
Take the chicken quesadillas.
Yeah, quesadillas.
Yeah, I could see that. I could also see him just going ham on the beans and rice.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Have some extra refried beanos.
Do you think he ordered it like that? I have some refried beanos.
Instead of the soft shell, can you bring me the hard shell, please?
Actually, no. So we've established that he's not a big spice guy, and also he likes well-done steak. So that makes you question his taste buds. So I was going to say chili rellenos, except I don't think he's that exotic.
Probably not.
I don't think that's likely. But I imagine if you put food in front of him, no matter kind of how weird it is, he'd probably eat it. If you were like, hey, I got these tacos from El Taqueriendo, my favorite taco place in the cities, and you're like, this one is tripe, which is the lining of stomach, and this one is cow tongue, beef tongue. My two favorite tacos there, by the way. They do it really well. He'd be like, yeah, all right.
Probably ate tongue as a child, just straight up. Not because of an economic issue, but he's like, I just want it. Yeah. Also,
football player.
Yinka Ayende, Sexy Prince.
Hey, what's going on?
Have you ever eaten tongue?
No, I definitely have not.
Have you ever glanced at head cheese?
No.
It's actually pretty good.
I've watched a snail go from getting killed to the plate before in Nigeria.
How French of you.
Escargot.
Yeah, you just watched. She took a brick, and then I was walking by. It's like this really long. It almost looked like one of those container storage places or whatever. And it was me and my folks when they took me. They were just walking through this really long hallway, and then I just saw a lady just take out a snail, still moving. Just took a giant brick and just watched the shell just break, and I'm like, this is savage.
Well, it's not like the snail feels feelings.
I mean, you don't know.
Animals can't feel pain. Creed Bratton.
No. But snails.
Do you think?
I know. They don't have a nervous system. How can they feel pain?
They're too slow to feel.
Great public speakers, though. I will say that. So a little bit of escargot and like French style with some garlic butter. Woo! That would. Also working the board, Declan Goff. What's going on?
It's going good. Tom Free, which is every podcast should be. I think that should be on a wrap somewhere. On a wrap, because that's very hip to say. But it's going good. It's going good. We had to switch from the laptop to the PC, the old hunk of junk, as I like to call it down here. Because I'm inept. Even though I have a degree in audio and pushing buttons, I don't know how to get audio to my laptop. Thank you, St. Cloud State.
Happens to the best
Go
of us.
Huskies.
We played the game. What does Andy think? It's actually better than expected. Exceeded
I thought
expected
it was very fun, actually.
Great game.
I enjoyed it.
That was
except
a good
the losing
game.
part.
Just like IKEA.
That was one of your better games.
Just like IKEA. Better than expected.
Yeah.
And open up the phone lines, and also we're opening it up. Arif's Anime Minute featuring Yinka.
We will call you back.
Because we can't call it Yinka and Arif's Anime Minute. I don't know why.
Why not?
I'm not in charge. I don't make the decisions here.
Reef, this was your decision?
No, I Absolutely not.
I mean,
Sounds like a Tom
it
decision.
seems like it's your decision. But anyways.
All right, but
I was angry that he even tweeted it.
If it was thought of and we don't agree with it, it probably was a Tom decision.
yeah, but let's hammer out some of these anime-centric questions. So we got to Alex's for hour one. So friend of the program, Luke Braun, NFL. Should I watch My Hero Academia or nah?
Absolutely.
Yeah, you definitely should. And you shouldn't be like Arif, who's waiting the entire season 3 to not watch any episode because he wants to binge it and not partake in any of our
I
conversations.
saw seasons 1 and 2.
Did you watch it? Did you binge it, or did you watch it every
I
week?
binged seasons 1 and 2.
Okay. So, we're waiting for your opinion to be added into the...
Make your own group chat without me. I don't care, man.
But we would miss you.
Great. Yeah, I'm waiting because binging is the best way to watch.
Oh my god.
things.
Anyways, yes,
So-
you
Yes
and no.
definitely should watch My Hero Academia. For those who
Yeah, it's
don't really watch
fantastic.
anime, it's like an X-Men meets...
No,
I'm just talking
immediately
about.
you're wrong.
I'm talking about the concept around having abilities, dude.
Yeah, X-Men's the only show where people have abilities. No, it's like 80% of the world has like superpowers or
Yeah.
something like that. But like the elite few, which are chosen based off of a flawed entrance exam and some other bad stuff, end up getting hero training. So there's like this whole society of superheroes are professionalized and privatized, and there's like these superhero companies, and they're learning how to be superheroes in academy, which My Hero Academia, and at the same time they have to they intern with these like professional
heroes.
and it starts out as like a really simple anime with like very simple premise, very simple characters with very simple goals, and it grows in complexity with like characters that like critique the way the society is set up and stuff like that. It's really good, really easy to attach to, and really fun characters.
And I think that I forget what we were talking about earlier, but I think it was Attack on Titan, where like the world becomes expansive, but the characters become really like stagnated. But where this show, I think it does a really good job with not only expanding the world, but the character development is actually pretty good. I mean, specifically 3 characters, you're really getting to see their character development. They are kind of like the
and the secondary characters are like super interesting.
Really good
to
to
get
support.
peeks into their life too, which is really good.
Peaks and Valleys.
Sure.
What channel is it on?
Crunchyroll.com.
Yeah.
What about Gundam Wing? What do you think of Gundam Wing?
Well, that is like 80 different animes.
Yes.
I guess Gundam is.
Yeah,
Gundam Wing.
is. Gundam Wing, though.
Gundam
I'm being specific here.
Really good.
Yeah, very good. Endless Waltz, great little film. I loved Endless Waltz.
Yeah, Endless, which I think is just kind of like a slightly alternate universe of Gundam Wing, but Endless Waltz was great.
Yeah,
Gundam Wing overall, fantastic.
that's a good one.
Well, I guess if you are going to get into anime right now, I would say My Hero Academia is definitely
That's the hotness right now.
It's a hotness right now.
Is this the golden age of anime?
Probably not. I bet it's in the future.
You think?
There's a lot of really bad anime.
Well,
man.
I mean, the '90s were. I mean, they had arguably not the greatest in terms of like what
we
you and I
had
really.
the best or most interesting anime curated to us in the United States.
Yeah, that's good.
It's like saying, hey, music in the past was better. No, we just know which music stood the test of time.
definitely.
And so we listen to the best version. I think it's the same thing with which anime got exported to the United States in the 90s.
Yeah, I guess it really depends. You know,
I think there's more good anime now than there was then, but it's harder to find.
Yeah.
Back
it is.
in my
It's
day,
more
there was
accessible.
better anime on VHS.
That's the thing is like a lot of the anime I use through friend recommendations, like Reef and some of the other guys. But if you are looking to get into anime, some of the top ones that I would recommend is My Hero Academia. I just started recently watching Megalobox. It's
I've heard good things about that.
Really different.
That one's supposed to be done. It's supposed to be reminiscent of a classical style of like 90s.
Yeah, exactly.
Previous type of animation.
Animation's a little bit different. If you are really into dark type things, Attack on Titan is another good one. I know Reef has his problems with it, but
Also, if you're
It's-
into dark
it's-
type things, 3/4 of this room.
oh yeah, yeah.
Attack on Titan's easy to get attached to. I think it doesn't hold up over time.
It's beautiful animation though. Like
It's
if you,
gorgeous animation.
If you
It's
really,
phenomenal sound design.
yeah.
Great music, and it's got a phenomenal premise. but its story is whatever, and it's kind of only built on the premise, which I think as time goes on, it's clear that they're just kind of making things up as they go along. And the characters are flat and bad and awful and uninteresting, and the only interesting characters they ruin in season 2 anyway.
So then not to counter that per se, because I don't necessarily disagree.
But people do love Attack on Titan.
It is again, it's really gruesome. I mean, it's really dark. You will see a lot of people get dismembered or dying. Another anime I would recommend, and this is, I have to give credit to Arif because he put me on it, but Hunter x Hunter is another anime.
So
and
good!
I'm really fighting one of my best friends about it because he really doesn't like it because he feels as if they keep making up rules or changing them. I'm like, no, this is an anime that does a really, really good job with creating a universe, creating rules to that universe, and then you get to understand based on those rules why every character is.
I think it's like a deepening of the universe and its rule set. Instead of changing the rules, it's more kind of exploring the nuances of the rules as time goes on.
And it's like in a lot of anime, you constantly have the protagonist fighting an antagonist, and it's just like, okay, well, why is the antagonist stronger than the protagonist?
And in Dragon Ball Z, the answer is they have a higher number.
Yeah, exactly. Well, they started to that, but they should have stuck with it. But anyway, that is beside the point. But specifically in Hunter x Hunter, there's
a lot of inventiveness and creativity and resourcefulness.
Yeah, they create a system. Yeah. They create a system, and you know exactly why. Person A is stronger than person B. Now, obviously, there is some nuance and there's some like intellectualism with it, with characters being able to not break those rules, but like find ways around it per se, or just combining different aspects of those rules together. But I think it does a really good job with
Okay, we're going too deep into the weeds here. Yeah. Final recommendation for something that's outside of that genre. So we've basically recommended 3 or 4 anime in the same genre.
Yeah.
Shirobako is an anime about people who make anime, and it's adorable and it's cute and it's really well done. I think there's only one season and it just kind of ends. One thing that's a big problem with anime is that it does not end. This one ends pretty well. And it's about these 5 women that are just entering the anime industry. Really good. It's outside the genre of people fighting things, which is like the genre that most people are exposed to. And it comes with a strong recommendation for me.
I guess maybe another one. It's still within the same genre, and I actually
all you watch is this people fighting things genre.
Yeah,
that's all you watch.
I know.
Then you complain about stuff that's specific to the genre, and you're like, "This is a problem with anime."
Well, some of it is not specific to the genre because I've gotten
Why are we still talking about this?
It's because I've gotten outside of the genre, and some of those things are still problematic because. Again, the way that things are expressed, I think you can see that kind of across the board with a lot of different anime.
Oh, thank Christ.
Thank goodness. Holy crap.
Holy Lord, caller, you are my savior. Caller, who we got?
Hi, it's Michael.
Michael, what's going on, man?
I just want to call, I want to know your thoughts on, like, the Hercules Mata injury. I guess, what are your thoughts? And I guess, did you think he was going to make the team, or he had a good shot? And I guess, what's his future now with the team?
Well, it was unfortunate. I think the kid has potential. Still don't really know exactly which position he was going to play. I think he would have been a special teamer, contributor at the jump, which is ironically what he got injured at. But just sets the reset button, and I guess it is nice for him that it happened early in the process. So he'll be good to go next year's OTAs, and I'm still rooting for the kid.
It would have been a really tough question about whether or not he would have made the team. He's kind of one of those players that you don't know if there's necessarily room for him on the 53, but he probably wouldn't survive the waivers process to make it to the practice squad. The team, it sounded like they were very excited about him, and it resolves a good problem, right? Because if you've got a player that's like a good player at a position of depth, where I think he'd probably play the same kind of position that Tyrone Holmes is playing, which is defensive tackle, defensive end kind of hybrid, and you don't know if you can fit them onto the roster, it makes it pretty easy, right? Because he's on injured reserve. It's kind of the same thing that happened with Zach Line, where they already had a fullback they liked. You don't want to roster 2 fullbacks unless you're the Seahawks.
Yeah, except Hurts actually hurt.
Right. And then, yeah, that's true, except Hercules is actually hurt. Where now they kind of don't have to worry about it. He could spend not just a year coming back, but also spend time getting up to the weight that they want him to for the position that he'll eventually play, learning the defense and stuff like that. Which is not to say this is a good thing. It's a bad thing, obviously. But there's kind of a silver lining to it.
Ooh, you can definitely put on some weight if you can't do any cardio. Just like sitting, it's like, what is up? Black sheep pizza. Yeah. But, yeah, still relatively hopeful on him.
Yeah, and one more question, I guess. So it looks like their Vikings are set on having Remmers be a right guard. So I guess what are your thoughts on that? Because I think it's just they want him to be a right guard.
I don't know if they're necessarily set at him at right guard right now. I mean, they're really in their experimentation kind of portion. It is offseason. This is the time. I guess if you are going to experiment, this is definitely the time you want to. So they definitely want to get, see how Rashad Hill's doing. They might want to get Brian O'Neill some reps. So obviously kicking Remmers into guard is the best because, I mean, the other mentality is yes, if he is going to end up playing guard, he's getting ample reps at that position as well too. But I don't think anything's locked in per se, and I would still prefer him at right tackle.
Yeah, I think part of it also is they're playing him a lot at right guard because with Elflein's injury, you're shaking kind of a lot of things up. Easton has to move inside. You're playing someone at left guard, which I think that sometimes is Isadora.
Yeah.
Which opens up kind of the right guard spot. It gives them a good opportunity to look at him at right guard and kind of make that decision easier because they now have more information about how he'll look at guard when they eventually move him back to tackle because Elflein's healthy again. I don't think they're set on him being a right guard, but I do think that this is definitely a possibility that they were seriously considering, and now they've got even more of an opportunity to consider it, given that injuries have kind of forced their hand into shuffling things around. So I don't know that they're set, but we're seeing a lot of it right now because of those injuries.
Yeah, if Elflein was healthy, I'd be interested to see if he would still be at that right guard.
Right.
I think they're just sort of testing things out, and at OTAs, you usually see the veterans will get the first crack at things. So you're seeing a lot of Tom Compton at that left guard spot, as well as Isadora. So, I mean, they're working things out. I think they still have a lot of faith in Rashad Hill, but will this be the lineup come towards the end of training camp? I don't know. Sort of flip a coin. Guess we'll see.
I guess that's what kind of...
At least Kobe Gossett is right guard on second team, though, right?
Yeah,
that's a good thing.
Right, that's my guy.
It's... I don't want to sound glib when I say this, but it's genuinely a good thing that he's not on the third team, I guess. We'll see what happens again when Elflein gets healthy and kind of how they shuffle things around. But I think Colby Gossett has an avenue to start at right guard really soon, if not right away, for the Vikings, once kind of everything shakes out and maybe they decide they want Mike Remmers at tackle or whatever. Yeah, I mean, given how much competition there is on that second line at the guard position, I think it is really good that you've got Colby Gossett there right away.
Thanks for calling in, Mike.
All right. Thanks. Thanks, guys.
I personally, I'm definitely... I mean, I get when guys are injured, so I completely understand if the shuffle and stuff, but I guess I'm really waiting for the offseason where we can just have... These are our 5 starters. There's really not going to be much shuffling outside of, getting guys a rep or two at a position.
Caller, who we got?
Hey, it's Alex in Viroqua.
Alex, hold on. Also, I have a question. Is Tom Compton the most opposite of Compton you could possibly get? Except maybe like Kirk Cousins.
I would say Kirky's up there.
Like some 6'6" weird guy from Rosemount.
Dear Lord.
Who went to South Dakota State. Oh, Alex?
Alex, you there?
Yeah, sorry. Let me move into... I actually have a signal booster out here, and I guess I gotta go stand in front.
Are you taking a crap in the outhouse?
Yeah, I've got a signal
it's
booster.
the right time of year to do such a thing. So,
that would not be the weirdest thing I've heard of on a podcast.
You're sounding
I hear we're talking anime, or what's...
Yeah, man. Let's do it. I'm way more enthusiastic about this than Arif is. So.
No, I don't know anything about anime.
Good for you.
Fantastic. We talked about it way too
so
long at the beginning of the hour. Yinka kept going after I told him to stop a couple of times. Then we had a caller save us. So for you to call in and even bring it up is just awful.
I love the only guy who doesn't care about anime in this room is the Asian guy.
I also think that's hilarious.
There's 2 of them. Yeah?
Yeah, I guess I'm Asian.
Okay, so not even going to get into that right now. Arif.
You're the one who brought it up both
I'm
times.
not even going to
This is entirely
go
your fault.
into
Alex,
it.
Alex, what's up, buddy?
The 23
you ever walk into a room and like you just know two people were arguing, but they like pretend that they're not as soon as you walk in? That's just the vibe I'm getting right now.
Yeah,
weird.
So I think it was Wyatt that called in 2 or 3 weeks ago and was discussing like trade possibilities for these guys that have contracts, coming up, debatable whether or not we'd actually re-sign them. I guess they're really not debatable, but there's going to be a degree of difficulty in getting all of them signed. And I think the consensus was that it wouldn't be worth trying to get, unknown pieces through draft picks for these guys, given what they bring to the table and how, our supposed window is open now. But let me float this scenario by you. What if we start 2-5 or something more like that? What's the trade deadline? Is that week 7, week 8?
Sure.
Yeah, probably around that.
Something like that. Anyway, so let's say the season just looks like it's about to go into the tank, and we're going to be picking high. We won't be making the playoffs. Does that change your mind at all about? And let's say, just for argument's sake, that we haven't signed Barr, haven't signed Diggs, haven't signed Hunter yet. Does that shift your philosophy at all to say, well, look, we don't want to be super tight up against the cap for these next 4 or 5 years, instead of putting ourselves into a bind and, risking, I guess.
Trade Daniil for
scenario.
Tyron Smith.
I hate you so much.
Sure.
Good question.
But I mean, if you trade away some guys for, and I know they'll be at the end of their contracts, but I would assume for Diggs, Hunter, and Barr, would probably still garner some decent draft capital if you dealt them away. Is that a decent way to extend your window by loading up on high draft picks and just throwing more darts at the wall?
I think
to trying to just throw money in everyone.
Yeah, so I think the way to approach it, if the Vikings begin the season really poorly, first you kind of have to figure out sort of why are they 2-5 or whatever. If it's because of bad luck, then obviously I don't think you treat it any differently. They've got a good chance to enter the back end of the season as a wild card. But still, I don't think it should change their long-term plans very much at all. Just because the way that you're going to be approaching the contracts for people leaving their first contract, entering their second contract, should be about whether or not they provide good medium-term value for you. And I think all three of those players do. And, maybe there's some questions about Anthony Barr, whether or not he's playing hot or cold at the moment you sort of hit the trade deadline. But I think for the most part, that shouldn't affect things because the way that if the Vikings still think they're kind of in a win-now mode for the 2019 season, you're going to want to have those players. And if the Vikings are in a mode where they kind of want to build in the short to medium term to build a contender, you're still going to want to have those players because all of them are still young enough that you can build a team around them. Your real concern is about players like Harrison Smith. If you're out of your window and you've got an elite safety who's 29, how much longer is he going to be elite, right? That I think is your bigger concern. And if you want to trade away, the top safety in the NFL in order to kind of build a new medium-term window, because you still want to keep young players when you're in the rebuilding phase. So I don't think that should impact things too much.
And I will say that I think of all the leagues, the NFL is probably the least active on trade deadline day of all 4 major sports.
Yeah, NBA is fun on trade deadline.
There isn't. Obviously, we've had the Randy Moss trade that's happened. That was more exciting for Minnesotan. But can you think of a big NFL deadline trade that's really happened in the last 10 years that where you really sell the farm he's kind of implying where you try to get better for next year?
The Bears did sell everything at one point, right? When they traded away Jared Allen and a couple of other pieces.
Oh, that's
at
right.
The time. Yeah,
but still,
that was a fire sale.
you don't see the fire sales like that at least happen mid-season.
Not very often.
Yeah.
No.
At least, if anything, it's in the off season or at the draft.
I guess to answer your question, if a trade that the Vikings would need to consider, let's say they are tanking, not on purpose, but this season is looking really bad. I would look at Andy joked, but
Jamie
to talk about
Collins. Yeah, I was just trying to see if he was traded midseason. He was.
But
Jamie Collins is a really good example.
I would honestly get on the phone with like the Cowboys or a team with a pretty decent offensive line, because likely if the season is tanking, I think the offensive line would probably be the problem. Anthony Barr would be a really good piece to move for our top quality offensive line.
What about Zach Martin if they didn't income?
Exactly, an interior lineman, because that's likely going to be the issue. It's going to be one of the interior pieces.
Zach Martin's not going to be available,
but you might have to trade Anthony Barr in a
team that spends a first round pick to revamp or to inject talent into their already world tier offensive line is going to trade Zach Martin. But yeah, sure, Zach Martin.
Yeah.
Hey, Alex, appreciate you calling in, man.
Yeah, Zach Martin.
All right, thanks, guys.
I think Joel Bitonio is more likely, honestly.
Got him. Hey, caller, who we got?
Got John. How are you?
John, what's going on, man? What's on your mind?
So I have a question. For Andy, because I'm convinced he's the only one who's a real person of the three of you there.
Yeah, fair.
You all burners.
Yep, that's right.
Yeah. Nope.
So the question is, of our cornerback lineup and like the different cornerbacks that we have on the roster, this time year 2 years from now, who do you think is the odd man out of our whatever higher draft picks that does not get paid?
I think Trey Waynes is going to be the odd man out, and he could play extremely well as well and still just be the odd man out because it becomes a numbers game. I think drafting Mac Alexander and Mike Hughes was a little bit of getting ready in case Waynes didn't pan out, or if he gets to a spot where you can't pay him just because you got Barr, Hunter, and Diggs coming up. And yeah, I think it might not even be a factor of how well he plays, but I don't see Trey Waynes being a Viking in 3 years.
Do you see Kyle Rudolph being a Viking in 3 years?
Oh.
Wait, you asking Andy that?
I will say yes, because I think he will take a massive restructure.
I'm asking Andy that because I don't trust Jinka, and Arif is a nerd.
Fair.
I think he'll have to take a massive restructure, but also, I mean, Rudy was a little bit glib about all of his surgeries, but those eventually will take a toll on him. And I think he's 28 now. Like, honestly, if he only plays till he's like 32, that wouldn't really shock me.
So after offensive line, what do you think is our biggest need?
Nose tackle.
Interior defensive line.
I mean, we're still like after the starting positions. I think basically all the starters are kind of taken care of. So you do have to start figuring out sort of where the depth is the worst. And if the answer is not still the offensive line, then probably nose tackle or just defensive tackle in general, because you don't know if Sheldon Richardson's going to be around.
Yeah, throw linebacker depth up there too. Not so much like need to bring someone in, but like Wilson, Gideon need to step up and try themselves.
If the offensive line blows up again this year and Rick Spielman drafts another DB, does he still have a job 2 years from now?
Yeah.
Depends on how much weight he can put on and play offensive line. Like Brian O'Neill packing on 35 pounds in 6 weeks, baby. Come on.
Yeah, I think Spielman's going to have a job for a while. I mean, the Vikings were just in the NFC Championship game. Really, it's just going to be like, maybe he should just get an offensive line consultant or something. Because they've gone through like 3 offensive line coaches, and they've brought in offensive line consultants to help coach. And if the offensive line is still a problem after all of that, he's just going to need to be like, I just hired someone to evaluate the offensive line instead.
They should just get LaCharles Bentley. Yeah, he's good. He ain't good.
LaCharles, LCV, all of these people have trained for your workshop. Yeah, they're all good.
Yeah, it's like when Tom House was talking about like Tebow. It's like, yeah, he greatly improved his throwing motion. Yeah, because you coached him. What else are you going to say?
You're right.
He threw a spiral. I remember that one time.
Yeah, the one time.
Mm-hmm. Hey, John.
So how many interceptions does Kirk Cousins throw in the first game?
Ooh. Were we faced with game 1?
San Fran.
Yeah, 1.
Just one. And
it'll be a dumb one, though.
Yeah, it will be a dumb one.
Like the interception he threw to Mac.
Yeah.
That one was bad. There was no one near him.
It's going to hit off Treadwell's hands into the DBs.
So now I have a question for Arif, and then I'll hang up, I promise.
Oh, no.
Okay, so I recently read a stat that over the past, 3 seasons, Kirk Cousins has one of the best game-winning comeback drives had 11 comeback fourth quarter wins, which is like good for like top 3 in the league. Is that true?
Is it? Well, I'll look it up right now.
We'll fact check that for you.
Yeah, I've
He was
got.
the reason they were down, though.
Do we have?
How much they were down and because like the Redskins didn't have better than like a 26 ranked defense at any point.
Well, I mean, like Luck. So there's a couple of problems with this. So Andrew Luck was also one of the leaders for a while of comeback or fourth quarter comebacks or fourth quarter drives or whatever.
I mean, I know Matthew Stafford made that stat his bitch last season.
Yeah, he did. And of course, for that stat to exist, you have to be down.
Well, Blake Bortles was pretty close up there, wasn't he, for a little bit?
He might have been. Now, I'm trying to find it because normally you can find it on the PFR Player Season Finder, but for some reason I can't seem to figure out how to use this right now. So I guess I'm just going to have to say, yeah, that sounds like a stat that's real. Although I'm at the place where you're supposed to find this. I'm kind of surprised I can't.
I saw it was on Twitter, and I saw one of like the Vikings Twitter talking heads retweet it. So that's why I'm just curious.
Well, let's take a look at year by year. So, fourth quarter comebacks. View current leaderboard among active players. So,
I mean, I have one up, and this is active, and it's like Tom Brady's
Cousins
one.
isn't showing up. If I look specifically at Cousins' page, for fourth quarter comebacks over the past 3 years, he's got 7. And for the past 3 years in game-winning drives, which includes games where you're tied at the very end, he's got, it looks like 11, which is pretty high, but it's definitely not as high as Stafford over the course of 2 years. It's not super high, but it's pretty high. Yeah, I don't know what to tell you. I guess it's like pretty decent.
That's a very good album title. Not super high, but pretty high.
No, I'm going to give you one more question, and I'm going to hang up, and I'm not going to listen to it. I'll listen to it on the podcast itself, so you actually have a reason to answer it.
Okay.
Oh, God.
If Kirk Cousins manages 25 touchdowns, I'll call it, like in the air, and 4,300 yards, which of his skill position players are the ones taking advantage of that, and what proportion?
Adam Thielen and Stephon Diggs will probably take a good lion's share of all of that, and probably like
numbers. Give me numbers in the podcast.
65 to 70% of that
will be the two of them.
Could be the two of them.
I could see Rudolph having like 10 of those touchdowns.
Yeah, more so the touchdown. I was more thinking like just yards in general.
Yeah, so I mean, the problem is that Thielen just hasn't produced that many touchdowns. Diggs produced something like 8 last year.
Oh yeah, he. Which do you think? And question: do you think that that's more outlier, or do you think that that's more probably what he should have been, considering they've been scheming more towards him?
I think it's a little bit of an outlier.
Yeah.
I think some of that, but I mean, like Rudolph's going to be liable for 7 to 10, maybe 7 to 11 of those touchdowns. I think Diggs is probably going to get 5 or 6 of those touchdowns. Thielen's probably going to get 5 or 6 of those touchdowns. Then the rest get distributed among people like David Morgan and Latavius Murray and Dalvin Cook. But from a percentage perspective, I would say Diggs 35, Thielen 30.
Yeah,
and that's a sizable chunk. And then you'll get Rudolph and Cook getting a decent 10% each, maybe.
With that 4,325 touchdowns, how much does Treadwell get?
I'm sure he'll break 200 yards again.
300.
402.
That's a little high.
502.
Yeah.
That's very high.
Very high. Being optimistic here.
Yeah. 17-3.
Does that answer? I thought you were going to hang up.
I thought he was going to hang up, too.
I lied. I was listening.
Oh, okay.
If Jonathan Hankins still doesn't have a job by week 3 or 4, do you think the Vikings give him a call for a minimum level paycheck just so that way he's making some money versus no money?
They should. But if they don't by the time the season starts, then they don't.
Starting to think that Hankins and Kenny Vaccaro killed the guy.
Right?
Together. Yeah. John, appreciate you calling in, man.
Thanks, John. Okay.
All right. Hammering through a couple of these Twitter questions at the Big Herman. When are you going to change the name to a la YFM?
Never.
I feel like it's funnier if we don't.
Yeah, it definitely way more hilarious. Objectively, it's way more hilarious if we don't.
The name of the podcast is no longer Andy Luca Reef Football Machine.
It's just football.
It's just Zone Coverage Football Machine.
Yeah. Just like what used to be called. Like, jabronis would call it like, oh, this is a Buffalo Wild Wings. This is BW3.
That's the thing?
Yeah.
Yeah, people call it that all the time.
Yeah.
Because it was Buffalo Wild Wings and WEC, which I think is like an Eastern thing. I don't
hang out with those people, but they do exist.
You haven't had beef on WEC?
No.
It's
I don't know
good.
what that is.
It's a sandwich.
Yeah. Also, I don't like how East Coast people call it grinders. Give me a grinder.
I hate that.
No, it's dumb.
It's a sandwich, man. Just chill. Yeah. At the Starkwolf82, what's the best all-around summer beer, or when is the summer beer draft going down?
My favorite summer beer is lemonade.
Yeah, I guess this is mainly like me and Declan.
Very, very basic, but Pacifico for me. I'm a big Pacifico guy over Corona. Corona's trash.
Is Andy going to pick a shandy?
No, I was actually going to pick Corona. It's like, well, here we are. We're at an impasse. It's okay. I also love WEC. And Matt71, which Vikings quarterback? Oh, no, Oberon.
Bell's Oberon.
Yeah.
It's good. Good one.
That was good.
Yep.
There, redeemed.
Alcohol.
Which Vikings quarterback got jerked around more, Tavares Jackson or Joe Webb?
Oh, jerked around more.
Well,
and what?
They never tried to move Tavares.
I think Joe Webb.
Yeah, probably Joe Webb,
Yeah.
but I mean, I'm not going to. Tavares Jackson wasn't good, but he did get jerked around. I would say Joe Webb more.
Yeah.
Who was a better number 7, Jackson or Ponder?
Ponder. That's not a fair question.
Ponder. That
CP7, baby.
right there.
T-Jack won a playoff game, though.
No, he didn't. With Seattle?
Pretty sure they beat the Eagles.
No, we lost to the Eagles.
Was it?
Yeah, I was at that game. Adrian
Yeah, but are you
Peterson.
sure?
Yeah. Yes, we didn't score a single point in the second half.
Did Blair Walsh really miss that field goal?
It was bad. That was the wild card game. T-Jack, after Gus Frerotte, the mob boss, stepped in and played admirably for 11 games. T-Jack won Player of the Month, I'm pretty sure, in December of that month, or at least won Player of the Week.
Was that
that
the week he went off against Arizona?
Yes, he had like a 5-touchdown game or something,
game.
and he won the job back from Gus Frerotte. Really hard to do. And then, he was I'm pretty sure in that, and I have a very weird autistic brain here with this T-Jack stat. I think he was like 13 of 39 in that. He was something terrible. He did not complete much of any pass, and his longest one was a screen to AP that he ran in for a touchdown from like 50 yards out.
Dope.
And I can remember that. Can't remember anything else. Remember the 08 NFC Championship
Speaking
game
of
and
39,
NFL
remember when
stats.
Donovan McNabb threw for 39 yards?
In the season opener?
Yeah. Against the Chargers.
Yeah.
All right, you're right about losing to the Eagles. That's my bad. But also, I thought for a second that T-Jack was the Seahawks quarterback in the Beastquake game, except I was wrong. It's
No, he just
Hasselbeck.
has this great record of winning coin flips for the Seahawks.
But also, so I looked up the box score of that game. So the touchdown scorers in that game, John Carlson had 2. Julius Jones had 2.
Sorry, which game?
Which game?
The Beastquake game. So Saints up at the 7-9.
Where Marshawn went
Seahawks.
off.
Yeah. No, I understand what he meant. I'm just like, John Carlson played for... Right,
Yeah.
that's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
Definitely
Right
did.
before here.
Also, Heath Evans touchdown pass from Drew Brees.
Heath Evans.
Julius Jones had 2 touchdown runs. Brandon Stokely, 45-yarder from Matt
I remember
Hasselbeck.
Brandon Stokely.
What is that?
Yeah, that guy was awesome.
What is that?
Gritty.
Yeah.
Yeah. The only touchdown Marshawn scored that game was the Beastquake run.
I think he caught
What a touchdown.
67 yards.
Brandon
to the
Stokely.
house.
Did he play for Denver?
Yeah,
One of
for a
Jake
year,
Plummer's
I think.
favorite targets.
Yeah, I think
I love me
played
some
for
Jake
Denver for
Plummer.
at least
He
a
played
year.
for Denver. He played for the Ravens. He won a Super Bowl with them. And
That's right.
Yeah. Sort of been all over
But
the place.
Stokely was off of the Broncos squad when they won a Super Bowl.
Yeah, I'm
right?
pretty
Like,
sure.
He wasn't.
Yeah. He also got ejected from a game for contacting the ref when he was just like, like after a call, he was like, "Hey, come on," and then they threw him out. Just hilarious to me.
You gotta draw a hard line, man.
At Bauman34, do any of the big 3 Vikings free agents, bar Diggs Hunter, get extended before the start of the season? Also, if any hit open market, who will get the most money and why? I think all 3 of them. No, actually, I think Barr gets done. One of the other 2, Hunter would get the most on the open market.
Hunter would definitely get the most on the open market.
Just
I mean,
by
I guess it depends on like what happens this season, right? If Hunter plays 700 snaps and doesn't get a sack, that probably hurts his contract numbers.
Yeah.
Whereas if Diggs goes for like 1,200 yards and 8 touchdowns again, he'll probably end up getting more money. But as it stands, I would imagine Hunter gets more money. I think they do get something done with Hunter.
Yeah.
And I think, in fact, he's the most likely.
Over under 15.5 per year for Hunter.
Under.
According to what Jason Fitzgerald at Over the Cap says, I should pick the over.
I'm going under. I just don't think that he's going to get over 15.5. That's a lot. That's a lot of sacks, man.
I understand that.
And you're still taking the over on that?
Yeah. I'm going to trust the guy whose job it is to report on contracts to predict this contract.
But here's the season.
I thought. Never mind.
Here's the season that Olivier Vernon had.
Millions of dollars.
Right before he got
it's money,
stupid money from the Giants. 7.5 sacks, 41 tackles.
He'll
Did he get 15 from the Giants?
I could see Hunter getting.
No,
17.
he got 17.
He got 17
with like 40.5 guaranteed.
Jesus
Christ.
Yeah, it's rough.
Hunter's getting over 15.5.
Yeah, I could see that then.
You thought we were talking about sacks?
I thought you were talking about sacks. I'm like,
Arif, don't you know that 15.5 sacks is a lot?
How about you be like, hey, Daniil, you get $1 million per sack this year on your next contract.
You could build that into a contract.
If I were him, I'd say no.
It's very incentive.
I think he's just going to sell out. Like, teams can just run to his side. He's like, that doesn't get me paid. Sorry, man.
Yeah, that's a really terrible contract structure.
Sounds like something that Jerry Jones would do. At Carson Shuby, what is Kirk's floor for the 2018 season, statistically speaking, assuming he stays healthy? Well, what's his worst season?
2017 was pretty bad.
Yeah, I was about to say last year was
that was pretty bad.
Maybe
the offensive line shenanigans, or maybe even the season he came in.
Is 20 the floor, though? I guess it's 20 touchdowns a floor for Kirk Cousins. Or is that still too?
Yeah, I think it's unlikely he'll get less than that.
Yeah.
His worst relative season was, last year, 27 touchdowns, 13 picks.
How was 20? Was it? When did he take over RG3? Was that 2015?
2015. Yeah, he started all 16 games.
He played. He started 5 games in 2014 and performed relatively poorly according to adjusted net yards per attempt and also passer rating. So he had a worse passer rating that year, but a better adjusted net yards per attempt than 2017. But I think over the course of a season, over his past 3 seasons, 2017 was his worst. I would say that he still has a floor below that. I think it's unlikely he'll hit that with the Vikings, just because of the supporting cast that they have.
Yeah.
So I would say his floor over the course of a full season, if they give him, 540 pass attempts, 22 touchdowns would be a floor. And so a floor in terms of interception / a ceiling in terms of how many interceptions, probably 15.
Yeah, I just
Although
think
that one's highly variable because bouncing off of players' hands and stuff.
Yeah, I think with the weapons that he has, Adam Thielen and Diggs, they get open too often.
Like it's their job.
Yeah, too often where I think it'd be really hard for Kirk to.
Treadwell gets open too if you're about to watch the film, Yanka.
Yeah, because I don't have a social life, so I watch film. But with that said, I think he has too many weapons around him to not succeed. This is a very good place for him to be at.
All right, so say you have a 10-story building, 10 Brady, Rodgers, they're up in the penthouse.
I sell it.
Yeah, that too. But say Cousins on average is about the 6th floor. Now, if he dips down to the 4th, can the Vikings still win the division?
Yes.
Yes, the defense is. I've said this before.
It would require an even better defensive performance than last year, and it was pretty good last year.
I've said this before. I thoroughly expect the Vikings defense to take a step back this season, but taking a step back, I still see them as a top 5 defense.
What if he goes down to the mezzanine?
That would be tough. I don't know if they win the division, but they've got a good shot at making the playoffs.
There you go.
Good shot, relatively speaking.
Wyatt James, Fork, and Holton Hill make the team.
Yeah, absolutely. I definitely
running with the 2s.
Yeah, I definitely see him as a man on the 53. So,
back up and up.
Definitely, there's a lot of cornerback competition.
There is, but think about it. Holton Hill is essentially what
you have to get rid of the cockroach, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, but Holton Hill feels kind of like what Jabari Price was a couple of years ago.
Jamar Press was drafted.
I know that.
That's
I'm just
a whole world of difference.
No, I'm just saying in terms of
And
I think
kept after a suspension.
I think they like him that much. That's what I'm saying.
Stick with Holton Hill, our board at the Real Gabby. If Holton Hill pans out, was a mistake not drafting him late? If you are okay with the personality part, why not draft him late to ensure no one else grabs him in the 7th?
Because we needed Daniel Carson in the 5th. So
I'm straight. Damn Skippy.
I don't love playing this game. Like Lyle Collins, right?
Yeah.
Or like, should they have drafted Thielen? You know?
Yeah.
I think that just means that their risk-reward calculus was again correct.
Yeah.
If he turns out, I mean, like, it feels weird to draft a player with like persistent drug issues that keep them off the field, that you're worried about them kind of relapsing into. So no, I don't think that makes the case that they should have drafted him. I mean, like, I don't think it's even quite the same as like, should the Patriots have drafted Brady in the 3rd instead of the 6th, right? Because, I mean, obviously the Patriots didn't know what they had.
Yeah.
And they almost picked someone else, which is my favorite part of the story, that they were down to 2 people. And they were like, Brady, fine.
Well, but Thielen wasn't even on. Was he really even on anyone's
No, he was
radar?
a tryout.
Yeah, he was a tryout. So I mean, there's almost no chance he would have got drafted.
Right. Almost no chance. There was no chance. He did not get drafted.
Mankato's favorite son.
Now, the 2013 draft is like a train wreck, but Thielen would be...
The Vikings came out ahead relative to other teams.
Would Thielen be a top 15 pick in that draft if they redrafted today?
Given how awful the 2013 draft was, my guess is yes. I'm not looking at it.
Probably.
All right, so here's the wide receivers that were actually drafted. You tell me if you take Thielen or the other guy. So Tavon Austin.
Was that Kendall
Hunter's? That one's tough. I don't know who I'd take between Tavon Austin and Adam Thielen.
27 overall, Nuke.
I'd probably take Nuke. Probably, I would.
Wasn't that the Kendall Wright? Was that the year Kendall Wright was coming out?
Maybe, yeah. I think so.
I guess we'll see.
Is that Stephen Hill's draft, too?
I guess we'll check it out. Nuke.
Yeah,
I would definitely take Nuke over it.
Yeah.
29 overall, Cordero Patterson.
Yes, I would definitely take Thielen over.
Justin Hunter. 41, Robert Woods.
Right.
Justin, yeah.
I'll take Thielen.
Yeah, Thielen.
Woods.
Aaron Dobson, Terrence Williams, Marquise Goodwin, Marcus Wheaton, Stedman.
Goodwin's turning it around.
Stedman Bailey, comeback season. Ace Sanders, Josh Boyce.
He's like 5'7".
Chris Harper, Quentin Patton, who everyone liked and just never really panned out. Kenny Stills, Tavares King.
Kenny Stills
is pretty good.
Yeah.
Corey Fuller, not the Vikings legendary DB. Ryan Swope, come on down.
Retired immediately. Got drafted, announced his retirement.
Yeah. Oh, Charles Johnson, 7th rounder, 216. That hurts.
Look at that. Well, I mean, the Vikings didn't spend the 7th.
Yeah.
I don't know. Earlier in the show, we were talking like 2011 draft or something. I think we were talking something about it, so I was looking it up. And 12 of the first 16 picks in that draft ended up being Pro Bowlers, and there's only 4 that weren't. Yeah. Do you know who they were?
The 4 that weren't. 3 of them are quarterbacks. So that's like Jake Locker and
Nick Fairley
and Blaine Gabbert, and then Nick Fairley is the non-quarterback. Yeah,
and he was pretty good except for the health.
Yeah. Ponder. Yeah.
Kind of funny.
Like, also funny is like...
But I mean, like, one of those Pro Bowlers is like Robert Quinn, and he's had like one good year.
Like, 4 of those guys are going to be Hall of Famers, too.
Yeah, I mean, this is a pretty good draft. It really was.
Yeah, I mean, so the question is, does J.J. Watt go into the Hall of Fame if he cannot replicate his play?
I think yes.
I think he should.
Yeah, I think just because of how dominant he was for like a 4-year stretch where he was just
the best player in football.
And he figured out how to score, which was insane.
Yeah.
Sticking with Thielen, Chief and Ho. What's the actual comp for Thielen? Because it's not Nelson or Edelman. I think Matthew Collar had a good one. Keenan Allen.
I don't love it just because they
No.
have similar skill sets, but their strengths within those skill sets are different enough that I wouldn't do that. So when Matthew Collar tweeted that out, I tweeted back at him. He's kind of a plus version of Marvin Jones because the way that they win, they have great ball tracking. They've got fantastic body control. They've got really good hands. And, I think I just looked up their athleticism comps when I tweeted that out, and I think Thielen has better explosion athletic scores, off the top of my head, because I think Marvin Jones had like a 33-inch vert. But otherwise, very similar scores in agility and in the 40. They're both kind of faster than their combine scores indicate. I think Marvin was a 4.46 and Thielen was a 4.45. At the regional combine, Thielen also tested a 4.42, so that's a pretty good example of how, how they can sometimes play faster than that. But they're both threats at all three levels of the field. They both do a really good job with contested catches, and they're both very good route runners, although I think both of them tend to get a little bit overrated with their route running, just because sometimes people just don't know why these players are getting open. They both have like sub-7 or sub-6.8 3 cones or something like that. And so their agility is also a big part of how they win. I think that's a pretty decent comp. I put Michael Thomas kind of on the same spectrum in terms of kind of where their skill sets lie. And I actually compared Michael Thomas to Marvin Jones coming out as a reason that he should be the number 1 or 2 receiver in that draft. But Marvin Jones is kind of my comp. But better.
So looking at his, Adam Thielen's mock draftable.
Yeah, I was just looking at that too.
Athlete comparisons: Travis Taylor,
Tosh Smith,
Aurelius Ben. Remember him from Illinois?
Ben.
Antonio Bryant, the second coming of Larry Fitzgerald. Not so much.
Yeah.
Actually, no, he was before Fitz. That really doesn't matter.
The Back to the Future second coming.
Also, retiree Glenn Coffey, running back at Alabama.
Yeah.
Remember him?
Yep.
Back in the day. Good times. Could have been a doctor. I don't think he would have been a medical professional. Just before the season starts, the NFL passes another rule to make the game safer. Ties are decided by a 3-legged race with one pair from each team. Who are your picks to represent the Vikings?
So a 3-legged race.
Yeah, you want guys with similar height, similar speed, agility.
Well, specifically similar
gait.
Waist to like the leg length, but we don't have the measurables for that.
So,
I know.
So just Vasante Shanko, just run him.
3 legs.
Oh God!
Would it be Thielen and Diggs?
No,
That's what I'm leaning towards.
it's Thielen's 2.5, 6'3",
6'1" and 1/8.
They're pretty similar.
Are they?
In terms of height?
I thought Thielen was quite a bit taller than Diggs.
Thielen's like an inch 3/4 taller, because I think Diggs is 6'0".
Kick me out of this
6'0".
room, but what about Dalvin and Latavius?
That's a terrible idea.
Terrible?
That's an awful idea.
Is there a big height difference there?
Huge height difference.
Like Latavius Murray.
Latavius in a straight line is actually much faster.
Yeah,
I know Latavius doesn't have speed on him.
No. Latavius is faster in a straight line.
Then Dalvin Cook is?
Yeah, look up their 40 times.
That's absurd.
What
Which
about
is weird.
Xavier and Holton Hill? Both 6'2" guys.
Both running under 4.4.
Yeah.
It's like that's actually not terrible.
Consistency instead of like speed, and then
I mean, they're both
tripped.
4.4 guys, right? Because I think Xavier ran a 4.42, and Holton's a 4.40. I want to say. So that's pretty fast. Marcus Sherrill's ran like a 4.31, but there's no one else on the team with similar size with that speed. I think. Is there anyone else on the team that's as tall as Sherrill's?
Not anymore.
Yeah, so you can't pick him.
I mean,
Because he's 5'10"?
Latavius ran a 4.4. I did not know that. 4.40.
I didn't know that
I'm
either.
trying to find Dalvin's here.
yeah, you
ran a
would not have
4.49.
guessed that from his play early on last year.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean he's like slowed down a little bit, but in a straight line,
4.49.
Latavius is.
Yeah.
It takes
I
a
guess so.
while for Latavius to build up his speed. Is the problem, which is not great for.
And
running
Dalvin's a 4'5" guy, right?
back. Yeah, well, he ran a 4.49.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Latavius is 6'2", and Dalvin is 5'10".
Yeah, there's
Yeah.
a huge
Yep.
difference.
Huge height difference.
I can't beat Xavier and Holton as the pair. That's really good.
Bam, nailed it. All right, so closing out with some more hot anime talk. So, friend of the program, Candace Hare.
Mike Hughes and Trey Waynes, they're not that far apart in height, and they're faster.
Yeah.
Actually,
Well, Trey Waynes is 6'2",
No,
or
he's not.
6'1".
He's closer to 6'1", and actually his 6'1" I think is closer to 6'0".
Oh, okay. And then Mike Hughes is 5'10".
Yeah, that's not great. You're right.
Yeah.
Yeah, never mind.
All right, so friend of the program, Candace Hare, horse racing hair. We need an official review of Umamasu.
It's an anime. Okay, so I actually know about this anime.
Yeah, Arif knows
Like,
better than I do.
It's something about horses.
I'm gonna say,
Scare the
and
crap
no one's
out
gonna
of me.
believe me, but it's still the truth. My girlfriend watches this anime.
Yeah.
I'm very uncomfortable with it, but the anime is they're all anthropomorphic horse girls,
Ugh.
right? I'm very uncomfortable.
I'm actually like terrified of horses. Like, they scare the crap out of me.
Maybe like Eric Berry, yeah. But the premise is that the main character wants to be like the fastest racing horse girl. Oh my God. And so she moves from the country to the city where there's like these academies. And she like sees the fastest person. She wants to be on their team or stable or whatever it is. And then she is, and that's like it's like an anime. Like that's now she's striving to be the best.
Is that as disturbing as Food Wars?
Food Wars is explicitly disturbing.
Yeah.
This one is implicitly disturbing because you're always worried about the kind of people that are watching it while you're watching it.
Yeah.
Food Wars is like explicitly like, oh, they're making an analogy between eating food and having sex, but like they're making the analogy on the screen. And it's weird and uncomfortable.
Yeah, I feel uncomfortable right now.
That sounds like diners, drive-ins, and dives after like midnight.
Yeah, except like it's animated.
Yeah.
And with animation comes like a whole new world of possibilities, and it's
I've discovered how Guy Fieri hosts TV shows. He just repeats everything that the person just said in like a very enthusiastic manner. So when he's on the show, he's like, yeah, we're well known for our lasagna. It's really famous here. Lasagna made famous right here.
Yeah.
And then cut or smash cut to the food.
He does have a good party trick where if they've got like a secret like rub or spice or whatever, he'll taste it and then just start naming the ingredients. I think that's fantastic. The only good thing about him. Yeah. So I have watched small portions of the show and I refuse to review it.
There you go. Indifferent. I give it a thumbs up. I'm in.
One more anime question. Can I have an anime question?
Sure.
Speaking of the
Stop
80s
acting
and
like
90s.
this is not something you
What
love.
about you guys fan of Ronin Warriors?
Yeah,
Ronin Warriors.
Wait, from
way back. That is a
that
way
was dope.
It was
I loved Ronin
It is
Warriors.
kind of difficult to rewatch.
Oh,
just 'cause the animation quality
it's
is like
terrible.
not there.
But they don't.
I loved it.
Also, the thing about
When he
Ronin
got the
Warriors,
white armor.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yes.
the thing about Ronin Warriors is like they don't do anything every episode. Like they
don't.
They just talk about like this is what we're going to do, and then they proceed to not do anything the entire episode. But
I like that the show takes place during an apocalypse.
yeah, but
That's pretty good.
But
Hey!
yeah.
I love it when they like really hastily put together an English theme song.
Yeah.
Yeah, like imported anime. And they just like aren't thinking about it.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
That was great.
All right.
I didn't do that, sorry.
Last hand grenade in. I keep it so real. Which was better, Dragon Ball or Dragon Ball Z?
I mean,
were we having this discussion off air or on air?
It was off air.
It was off air.
I mean, like, I think we both can agree that. I mean, if you just look at it as a whole, Dragon Ball is better than Dragon Ball Z.
Yeah, it's a better anime.
But I will
better writing, better arcs.
Yeah.
Much better pacing.
But I mean, it's
Z was terrible at it.
But like, yeah, I definitely will agree with that. But as far as like the bigger cultural
Dragon Ball Z is much more influential.
and within the genre, Dragon Ball Z is highly more.
And not just to American audiences, but to Japanese audiences.
Yeah,
The first 10 episodes of a Dragon Ball Z episode was the last 10 episodes of the previous Dragon Ball Z episode. Like, they never really got into the plot to like a minute 11 until like, yes, we have been recapping this for the last episode, and we're still doing it for 10 minutes into the new episode.
And then after the recap, they repeat what was just happening for the last 10 minutes.
Yeah.
And so, you get 10 minutes of new and original content every episode.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Roughly.
Well, and everything, they didn't have as much power creep issues in Dragon Ball. Where
they had a massive power creep
Well,
issue.
because, I mean, like, Goku was still, obviously, being the protagonist, he was still, like, miles ahead of most people. But obviously the introduction of, like, guys like Krillin and Yamcha and, like, you know, the...
Krillin, underrated
Dragon Ball character. Krillin was fantastic. But Master Roshi, then you have the Red Ribbon Army, all that stuff.
Red Ribbon Army arc was so good.
It was so good. But the thing is, it was fun to watch the character struggle, but obviously be able to overcome it, and not just because he got some new form that put him in the place that got him.
And they limited the number of existential threats to just Piccolo. Like, I think he was the only one that was like, he'll destroy the world.
Yeah.
Whereas in Dragon Ball Z, it
was like regular, like, mercenaries.
Everyone can destroy the world. Many of them will destroy the galaxy. Some of them will destroy the universe. And you're like, I'm kind of sick of this. Yeah. So, that's what this is the episode you created, Andy.
I know. It was the easiest episode I've ever done.
That was awesome.
It's also our worst episode.
Well, that not anime minute, but the game we played earlier, that was pretty fun.
I liked the game.
Actually, the game was the high point.
Yeah.
That was really good.
I am sad that I took the L, though.
I mean, we both took the L. It's fine.
Yeah.
Producer Declan got it in.
I think I've got the winning record of all the games that we've played, so I'm fine.
We should have a super fan
until we play Catan together.
Yeah. Last one. Compare a Viking to an anime character.
No.
No. I don't think I can do that right now. I need to sit on it.
Everson's probably Goku, right?
I was going to say Harrison.
Vegeta.
It's Goku.
I would say Everson's like Vegeta. Everson is evil and not evil, but like high strung and very attitude heavy. Not Goku at all.
But his attitude is super positive to beating people up.
Yeah.
Who does it sound like? Goku.
No, I don't think that's right.
I wouldn't say Everson's Goku.
Everson's like, I want to smash your face in. Goku, I don't think would ever say that. I don't see Goku being like that.
Everson doesn't get like mad though. That's the thing. It's definitely not Vegeta. Anyway, Harrison cannot be Goku. That's crazy.
Is Harrison Smith kind of antisocial?
Yes.
He could be like.
Yes.
He could be like Todoroki, maybe. Like really good at like so many different things, but it's just like antisocial. Like that's his weakness.
Who's Supreme Kai?
I guess.
How about that? Who's Supreme Kai on the Vikings?
Jeez.
Oh.
I don't think
could even be a coach. I don't even know.
What are his characteristics?
Young Gohan, Trey Waynes.
Okay.
Always.
Yes. Always. Oh my God. Yes. Yes.
Gets too aggressive at the worst times.
Right.
Has flashes of looking very, very good, and then it just goes away. Yes, that's our comp. Gohan, young Gohan is Trey Waynes.
I like it.
Let's go home and eat chicken.
Yeah. What are you working on? Anything in the hopper?
So I've been saying I've got a piece coming up on X Player forever, and I haven't published anything in like 2.5 weeks. But yeah, I'm going to have pieces on Mac Alexander, Laquan Treadwell, Kirk Cousins, seeing if the first two of those can put together or burnish a career and answer some of the kind of the floating questions. Was Laquan Treadwell always open? Was Mackenzie Alexander quietly good except in big moments? And for the third one, sort of like what the Vikings have and his floor and ceiling.
Treadwell's only open when he goes against Mac in practice.
Great.
Probably not. Yank, how about you?
That'd be very.
Yeah, I'm still digging into all 22, which takes a while, but it'll get done.
What are you looking for?
I'm looking for anything from specific plays to some technical stuff, things that worked, things that did not. But I mean, it takes me quite a few watches to get it right. So,
Dex, how about you?
I don't really do a whole lot right now. I'm a Lyft driver, so I got to drive people around. Did that today. So quick story time. Lyft does this thing called bonuses, streak bonuses. You do like 4 rides in a row, they give you like $12 to $16 extra. Like as like thanks for doing 4 rides in a row. So like I started at 3:30, thinking like I can definitely get 4 rides done before getting here at 6 o'clock. I got 3 done in 100 minutes. Traffic was horrendous everywhere, not just on the interstate, on roads, everywhere. And I only got 3 done. I didn't get my bonus, and I had to come here, and I was hangry, so I ordered that Subway. That's why I was smashing the Subway. It was stupid Lyft.
You can you should expense that $14 that you missed out on
to Tom.
Sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, my views don't represent zone coverage, so yes, I can absolutely do that.
Retweets do equal paid endorsements, so still waiting on a couple checks.
We can do that for you.
Listen, hour 1, we played the game, talked OTAs, good times. Show's available on iTunes, Stitcher, iHeartRadio, zonecoverage.com/machine. Become a subscriber, be someone. But for Arif and Yinka and Declan, I'm Andy, and Alexander, bye. That's you next week.
All right.
I hope you think that little black dress.
Follow all of us on Twitter. I'm at Andy Carlson Show. Luke is at Luke_Spinman. Arif at Arif Hassan NFL. The theme song for the show is Let It Burn by Cold Kingdom. For more info and show dates, visit coldkingdom.com and follow them on Twitter at Cold Kingdom Band. Get all the Andy, Luke, and Arif Football Machine shows on iTunes, on Stitcher, and, of course, at coldomaha.com/football machine. It'll cure what ails you. Just do it. Do it now.
The Zone Coverage Podcast Network.